Some horror movies don't just scare you, they completely warp your perception of reality, leaving you feeling like you just woke up from a nightmare you can't fully shake. These are the type of films that blur the line between what's real and what's imagined, where the story, visuals, and atmosphere combine to make you question everything you're seeing. It's that dizzy, disorienting feeling you get when reality feels unstable, when time moves strangely, or when the world around you seems just a little off. These movies feel like some deja vu. Fever dream horrors are the kind of films that stick in your head long after the credits roll. They mess with your senses, confuse your mind, and sometimes leave you guessing what the story was even about and what even you just watched. From trippy visuals to surreal events, these movies prove that horror doesn't need to jump scare or gore to get under your skin. Sometimes the most unnerving experiences come from simply feeling trapped inside a dream that refuses to end. So if you're looking for something a little more off-kilter, today I'm breaking down 5 horror movies that feel like a fever dream. And make sure you stick around till the end because I got some truly unsettling films that you won't forget. And of course, if you enjoy the video, do me a favor and hit that like and subscribe button to help out the channel. But enough yapping, let's get right into these movies. Our first movie is Midsommar from 2019. Man, this is a wild way to start our fever dream horror movie list. Midsommar throws you into a story that's both tragic and visually hypnotic, making you feel completely unable to tell what's going on and unable to tell if this is reality. The dreamlike quality of the cinematography and the slow, unsettling pacing pulls you straight into the shoes of Danny and the other characters, especially as the pagan rituals escalate. You're constantly guessing what's real and what's part of this cult, surreal, alternative reality. The film follows Danny and her boyfriend Christian, who traveled to Sweden with friends to attend a rare midsummer festival. What starts as a picturesque getaway quickly turns into a nightmarish journey filled with ritualistic ceremonies, psychological manipulation, and intense emotional trauma. The lush daylight, pastoral settings, and bright sun-soaked colors make it feel almost too beautiful, which only makes the horror feel stranger and more dreamlike. If you want a horror movie that completely messes with your mind, Midsommar absolutely nails it. You kind of don't even know what you're watching. The combination of grief, cult dynamics, and surreal rituals create this unrelenting tension that keeps you disoriented the entire time. It's a slow burn, but each scene adds to this unsettling, fever dream-like atmosphere. You'll find yourself thinking about the imagery in the movie far after you finish watching it. Fun fact, Midsommar was filmed entirely in Budapest, Hungary, despite being in Sweden. The director Ari Aster designed the village to feel idyllic yet unnervingly artificial, enhancing that dreamlike, almost hypnotic quality that dominates the film. You can watch Midsommar on Fandango and Amazon. Our second movie is Antrum from 2018. This one is a wild ride if you want your horror movies to feel like a fever dream. Antrum is wrapped in an eerie marketing and cursed backstory that actually had me terrified the first time I watched it. And the period between when I found out about this movie and wanted to start watching it and actually wanted to find out how to watch it and when I actually did end up watching it is probably about at least 2 weeks, maybe to a month, because I was terrified in doing research on, is this cursed, is this real, because there was so much backstory about how there was movie theaters that tried to show it and they burned down in the 70s and like people were getting killed over it, and there was like a total of like 100 deaths over this movie, and everyone that watched it like died or something. And then it was recovered in like 2015 and then put out in 2018. So they made this whole entire story with no-name actors and everything, kind of like how Blair Witch did it. And this was the only one that was successful for me for doing that type of marketing. But you come to find out that it was just a movie made in 2018 and that was their marketing, so I got marketed. It's deceptively simple on the surface, but the atmosphere, bizarre visuals, and the things that you see and the things that you hear and the curse signals that pop up on the screen at you and make you feel like you need to turn the movie off, it's all just feels like you're in a nightmare. You're just in a fever dream nightmare. The story follows 2 siblings who attempt to dig a hole to hell in order to rescue their dead dog's soul, only to descend into a forest filled with strange rituals and supernatural occurrences. The film is presented as a lost and allegedly cursed movie that was banned in the 70s but resurfaced, with warnings that it caused distress to early viewers, which adds to the unnerving vibe. The forest, dim lighting, the odd cinematography makes you feel like you've stepped into a liminal space somewhere between reality and a dark dream. If you want a horror movie that makes you feel like you're out of your mind, terrified, and just on the edge of reality, Antrum's gonna do it for you. The surreal imagery, nightmarish sequences, and the quiet tension makes it feel like a fever dream from start to finish. There's a point in here where there's some weird things happening with deer. There's weird signals and symbols that pop on the TV. Everything just feels weird. There's just weird off interactions. The movie just doesn't feel real at all. It's just, can kind of get goosebumps just thinking about how just weird it is. I don't think I'll ever rewatch it because it's so weird. I just can't say weird enough about this movie. Even though the story is simple, the execution creates this unease feeling where something feels wrong at all times throughout the movie. Fun fact, Antrum is presented as a film that was supposedly cursed, with some screenings including fake disclaimers about viewer reactions. This clever marketing blurs the line between fiction and reality, amplifying the dreamlike, unsettling experience. You can watch Antrum on Tubi and Sling for free. Our third movie is It Follows from 2014. This one is a modern horror movie that absolutely nails that dream, fever dream-like quality. It Follows takes a simple yet unnerving idea and story and twists it to something that's even more unnerving and feels like it's a nightmare. It's almost like a hypnotic experience. The entity is relentless, always creeping closer, and it makes you feel like you're stuck in this terrible nightmare that you're trapped in and can't escape. It's just endless terror. The story follows Jay, a young woman who becomes the target of a supernatural entity passed along through sexual encounters. Once it is after you, it moves slowly but inevitably, appearing as different people and always just out of clear reach. The tension builds steadily as Jay and her friends try to figure out how to survive while the entity's approach is relentless. The suburban streets, the quiet neighborhoods, and retro-inspired visuals make the normal world feel eerily dreamlike and off-kilter. It Follows is a movie that sticks with you long after the credits roll. The slow, creeping dread and sense of inescapable danger mimic the sensation of nightmares, making it feel like you're experiencing a prolonged, anxiety-filled dream. The haunting synth score adds to this surreal feeling, almost hypnotic quality of the film, and the characters feel grounded and normal, at first at least, which makes it hit even harder. Fun fact, the filmmakers used unusual camera techniques and long tracking shots to create a sense of unease and make the viewer feel like the entity could appear anywhere at any time. The result is a terrifyingly dreamlike atmosphere that's hard to shake. Go ahead and watch this one at night by yourself. I promise you, it is low-key one of the scariest movies ever. You can watch It Follows on Philo. Our fourth movie is Skinamarink from 2022. Even though I'm not the biggest fan of Skinamarink and I've already talked about it on a recent list, I still had to include it on this list because it is so fever dream-like. This movie isn't just horror, it's full-on sensory experience that messes with your perception of reality. The way time, space, and visuals are distorted makes you feel like you're stuck in a dream that you cannot wake up from. The story follows two young children who wake up in the middle of the night to find their house altered in bizarre ways. Doors disappeared, lights won't stay on, and their father is missing. The film is shot with extreme low-angle, grainy perspectives and minimal dialogue, which amplifies the feeling of helplessness. Shadows loom large, sounds echo oddly, and the visuals constantly shift, making the audience question what's real and what's imagined. If you want a movie that fully captures the feeling of a fever dream, it is Skinamarink. Skinamarink thrives on atmosphere, dread, and subtle terror rather than jump scares. Watching it is like being trapped inside a child's nightmare. This is like a dream you would most likely have when you were a child, when you were a kid. You might have had this dream before actually, which makes it so deja vu and so scary in the fever dream nightmarish way. It's disorienting, uncomfortable, and strangely hypnotic. It challenges traditional storytelling and horror norms, which is exactly why it leaves such a lasting impression. It's definitely unlike anything you've ever seen. Fun fact, the film was made for only $15,000 and shot inside the director's childhood home. Its experimental style and unusual visuals went viral on TikTok before release, which gave it a huge cult following despite its tiny budget. You can watch Skinamarink on Tubi for free. Our fifth movie is I Saw the TV Glow from 2023, closing out this fever dream horror list with one of the most surreal and unusual films I've ever seen. This is the ultimate modern example of a nightmare caught on film. Everything about this movie, from the neon lit visuals to the eerie, disjointed narrative, feels like stepping into someone else's hallucination. It's unsettling, mesmerizing, and keeps you guessing the entire time. The story follows a group of friends who stumble upon a mysterious TV show that seems harmless at first, until reality itself starts to blur. Neon colors, distorted angles, and unusual sound design make every scene feel like a surreal, shifting dream. Characters react in ways that are unpredictable, events happen without clear cause, and the audience is left questioning what's real versus imagined. This is horror as a fever dream, strange, immersive, and utterly hypnotic. If you've ever wanted a horror movie that doesn't just scare you but completely messes with your head, then give this one a watch. I Saw the TV Glow succeeds in building tension and unease through atmosphere, visuals, and panic and pacing rather than traditional jump scares. The way it plays with perception and expectation just is weird. It makes you feel like you're part of the confusion and terror, which is exactly the point of the film. Fun fact, the film leans heavily into retro VHS and neon aesthetics to amplify the dreamlike, otherworldly feeling. The creators intentionally avoided linear storytelling to make viewers feel lost, adding to the fever dream experience. You can watch I Saw the TV Glow on HBO Max and Hulu. Alright, so there are 5 horror movies that feel like a fever dream, but if I had to pick just one to recommend the most, I'd go with It Follows from 2014. Yeah, I know it's a classic and most of you have already seen it, but if you have not seen it for any reason, seriously, go check it out. The premise is so simple yet so terrifying, a relentless entity that follows you and is very persistent and won't give up no matter what, and you just can't escape this curse. The way the film uses atmosphere, camera work, and sound design to keep you constantly on edge makes it one of the scariest movies ever. It's one of those films that sticks with you long after the credits roll. And honestly, it's the perfect example of horror movie that actually messes with your mind instead of just throwing jump scares at you. This is truly a fever dream. If you've seen any of these movies or if you love any of these movies, let me know down in the comments below. Also, let me know down there which ones did I miss from this list. Please drop a like and hit that subscribe button, or the entity will follow you everywhere you go. Thank y'all so much for watching. Have a blessed day, and peace!